On our record, we brought inflation down to 2%. It has doubled under him. We left him the fastest growing economy in the G7. It is no longer. The truth is, they have no ideas. We're giving them some. There is another way to get growth. It's cutting welfare spending and getting people into work. Last month, I offered to work cross-party with him to bring down welfare spending because he knows, and we know, that he'd rather dip into people's pockets than upset those people behind him. Instead of tax rises, will he work with us to find a way to cut welfare spending and get Britain working again?
Mr. Speaker, she talks about their record. Let's go through it. They crashed the economy. Inflation went up to 11%. Mortgages went through the roof. Welfare spending went up £33 billion, and they want to give us advice. And they reduced the UK to a laughing stock. Because of our budget, Mr. Speaker, waiting lists have come down, wages are up, mortgage rates are down, and other countries want to do deals with us. Just on Monday of this week, the Turkish government signed an £8 billion deal for typhoons. Earlier this year, the Norway government a £10 billion for frigates. That is because of the budget that we passed, fixing the mess that they left.
Kemi Badenoch's latest remark that to cutting welfare spending is key to growth reveals how disconnected parts of the Conservative Party remain from political and economic reality. This is a recycled line from the austerity playbook of the 2010s, one that ignores the deeper damage that underinvestment and inequality have already done to the UK's productivity. It's also a strange time to lecture Labour on fiscal responsibility when, as Keir Starmer swiftly pointed out, it was the Conservatives who crashed the economy, drove inflation to 11s and sent mortgage costs soaring. Welfare spending didn't rise because of Labour's generosity. It rose by £33 billion because of Tory mismanagement that pushed more families into hardship. Badenoch's attempt to extend an olive branch to Labour by saying she's willing to work together rings hollow when paired with policies that would squeeze the poorest. What she's really offering isn't cooperation. It's a continuation of the same economic orthodoxy that left Britain stagnant and unequal. Starmer's rebuttal, sharp and concise, captures a growing public sentiment. After years of economic chaos, the Conservatives have lost the credibility to give anyone advice on growth.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you'd be lucky to get 1 day a week out of a 1 day working out of them, let alone 4. It's obviously not going to work, and it's more for a self person. It's more for what they want than what's good for business. Already they're saying repairs are behind, rent collections, many other things by trying to introduce 4 day a week. How can you possibly pay 5 days money for 4 days work? It won't work in manufacturing, won't work in retail, won't work in trades, teaching, NHS, but all of a sudden it'll work for the council. It's just ludicrous, and thank God I've heard a Labour minister come up with something sensible for once.
Yeah, it certainly feels to be the case, Charlie. Because look, I mean, at the end of the day, there are some studies that have suggested a 4-day working week is somewhat beneficial and that productivity increases. Charlie, would you ever think of doing that with any of your businesses?
No, I mean, we fix we have to work 7 days a week to get jobs covered. Obviously, people want to earn money. It would just be, honestly, it's like laughable to think that it can work across the country. The country's in a mess economically, and they want to start cutting down people going to work. We should be encouraging people back to work, but no, we wouldn't entertain it. If somebody wants a part-time job, then they need to get a part-time job, but they cannot be paid full payment money for part-time work.
The thing is, Charlie, this council that we were just talking about, Cambridgeshire District Council, they had to raise their taxes, their council tax, by 5% in this last year. That's an incredible amount. That's an incredible amount of money to ask when you're giving less back. Do you think there should be at least some acknowledgement from the councils that do this, that people should be getting a council tax cut if they're working less?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, look, if these people are doing 20% less work and getting 20% more money, then somebody's paying for it, and it can only be the end user, being the customer. the service isn't there for 4 days, what you can get out of 5 days. But these lazy people, these woke people, these people that don't want to go to work, they're going to argue all day long that they're right, but they've never run a business and they never will run a business. And I mean, that's why they work for the council.
Charlie, is that the point in politics though? Because a lot of people look at Parliament, they look at our local councillors and they go, so many of you have never worked a day in your life, you're paid political people. Do you think that's a problem in our country?
Well, of course it is. I mean, we've got to a stage that many people think they're entitled to, go to, or not go to work and get benefits for nothing. So whenever you're giving people money for nothing, then it's sending out the wrong impression to the youngsters to go to work. We need to change it. I mean, the country's in such a mess, and here we are talking about working 4 days a week and getting 5 days money. It's like laughable. I mean, whoever comes up with these ideas, I mean, they need to get a proper job, if I'm being honest. They're just talking absolute nonsense. But of course, there's certain people out there that are doing this system and it's working for them. But it works for the worker, not for the employer or the employer. Yeah.
Totally agree, Charlie. I mean, it'd be amazing if I had a 4-day working week. I can't remember the last time I did ever have one. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Charlie Mullins there, founder of Pimlico Plumbers. Well, I've got a right of reply here. Bridget Smith, the Liberal Democrat leader in South Cambridgeshire, said, "We are extremely disappointed to receive this letter from the Minister as we are an exceptionally high-performing council. Since implementing the 4-day working week, a working arrangement in which colleagues do 100% of their work in 32 hours each week, we have delivered an annual saving of almost £400,000, maintained and improved performance. Our turnover has decreased by 41% and the number of applications for roles advertised has surged 123%. Oh, interesting there, isn't it?
Charlie Mullins' blunt question. How could you possibly pay 5 days' money for 4 days' work? Perfectly captures the old school business mindset, resisting the modern 4-day workweek movement. His view rests on a narrow transactional idea of productivity. Time equals value. But that argument ignores mounting evidence from global trials showing that shorter weeks often increase output, improve retention, and reduce burnout. The government's rebuke of councils experimenting with the policy reflects the same fear, that flexibility threatens discipline. Yet the irony is that Britain's stagnant productivity and exhausted workforce are symptoms of overwork, not underwork. The debate isn't really about pay. It's about control and trust. Mullins' stance may resonate with traditionalists, but the economic future is likely to reward innovation in how people work, not nostalgia for the grind.